Ein Monstrum-Ziel erfasst! Achtung, Panzerfeuer, Rückzug!
What if the only ground combat on Japanese home soil during World War II wasn't by paratroopers or Marines storming a beach, but by 8 U.S. Navy submariners who paddled ashore from their surfaced boat in rubber rafts, planted a bomb under railroad tracks, and sank a moving train wreckage flying 200 feet into the air before escaping back to sea. During the night of July 22nd to 23rd, 1945, just weeks before Japan's surrender, Commander Eugene B. Fluckey's USS Barb, SAC, 950 yards off the coast of Karafuto's southern Sakhalin Island, then Japanese territory, after observing train schedules for days through the periscope, Fluckey sent a volunteer party of 8 crewmen ashore in 2 rubber boats. Tei Koyet, a 55-pound demolition charge rigged from a scuttling bomb, batteries, and an improvised pressure detonator. Microswitch placed under the rails to trigger on the train's weight. The men dug silently in darkness, hiding from a sentry tower its lookout asleep, and positioned the charge between ties. As they paddled back to the waiting submarine, a southbound train approached. The locomotive rolled over the switch. The explosion erupted at 1:47 a.m. on July 23rd. The engine hurled 200 feet skyward in flames. 12 freight cars, 2 passenger cars, and 1 mail car derailed and piled into twisted wreckage amid fire and smoke. Japanese reports later noted civilian casualties, but intelligence indicated nighttime trains often carried troops and supplies. This audacious raid stands out because it remains the only U.S. ground attack sabotage operation on Japanese home island soil during the entire Pacific War. Was considered part of the home territory. The Barb's crew submariners trained for underwater stealth became impromptu commandos. No shots fired, no direct combat with guards. The bomb worked perfectly, derailing the train without harming the landing party. They returned safely to the Barb, which slipped away into the Okhotsk Sea. The event earned a unique train kill symbol on Barb's battle flag, a locomotive, marking amid her other victories. The shock lies in the rarity. Submarines typically struck from below the waves with torpedoes. Here, Barb's crew went ashore risking capture or death on enemy soil to deliver a land strike. Commander Fluckey, already legendary for aggressive tactics including first sub-rocket attack on shore, targets earlier that patrol, approved the plan. It succeeded flawlessly, adding to Barb's record as one of the most decorated U.S. submarines. The train sabotage occurred during Barb's 12th and final war patrol, June-August 1945. In the Sea of Okhotsk, north of Hokkaido, and off Karafuto. By mid-1945, U.S. submarines had devastated Japan's merchant fleet. Barb, a Gato-class boat under Commander Eugene Fluckey, ranked among the top by tonnage sunk. Fluckey pioneered surface night attacks, rocket shore bombardments, first sub-to-fire rockets at land targets in June 1945 at Hokkaido towns, and now this land operation, patrolling the remote Karafuto coast. Fluckey observed through the periscope trains running close to the shoreline, likely carrying troops, supplies, and materials to thwart Allied invasion plans. No bridges, or tunnels offered easy targets. Torpedoes useless against land. Chief Gunner's Mate Paul G. Saunders and Electrician's Mate 3rd Class Billy R. Hatfield devised a plan land a party to plant explosives under the tracks, detonated by train weight via improvised pressure switch. After 3 nights observing schedules, Fluckey selected 8 volunteers, including Saunders and Hatfield, to a carrietta of 55-pound scuttling charge rigged with batteries in a pickle can, digging tools from deck plates, pistols, flashlights, survival gear, and stakes in case of dogs. On July 22 evening, Barb surfaced 950 yards offshore near Kashio. The party paddled ashore in 2 rubber boats under darkness and cloud cover. They evaded a sentry tower lookout asleep, dug under the rails, placed the charge, and wired the switch. A train passed close during setup. Men hid in bushes. They finished and paddled back. As they neared Barb, the next train triggered the explosion at 1:47 a.m. on July 23rd. The locomotive flew 200 feet. Cars derailed in flames. The event mattered because it was the only U.S. ground combat on Japanese home island soil in World War II. Karafuto's southern Sakhalin was part of the home territory. No U.S. troops landed elsewhere on the 4 main islands. Barb's action disrupted supply lines in a remote area. Fluckey earned the Medal of Honor for prior patrols. This added uniqueness. The raid succeeded without casualties to the party safe. Returned to the boat, Barb continued patrol, returning August 2nd, 1945. The train marking joined her battle flag. It highlighted submarine versatility and torpedoes, rockets, and rescues, even limited ground sabotage. The operation's success stemmed from planning, stealth, and crew initiative. July 22nd, 1945, 20-30 hours USS Barb SS-22 Olay surfaced in the Sea of Okhotsk, approximately 950 yards offshore near the town of Kashiho, on southern Karafuto, Sakhalin Island, Japanese territory. Commander Eugene Fluckey had the boat trimmed down, diesels idling low, radar sweeping the dark coastline. For 3 nights, the crew had observed through the periscope trains running close to the shore on a single track line, likely carrying troops, supplies, and materials south. No bridges or tunnels offered easy targets. Torpedoes useless against land. Chief Gunner's Mate Paul G. Saunders and Electrician's Mate 3rd Class Billy R. Hatfield proposed the plan. Land a small party to plant explosives under the rails, detonated by train weight. Fluckey approved after careful consideration. 8 volunteers stepped forward. Saunders led. Hatfield rigged the charge, plus 6 others gunners' mates, electricians, and a pharmacist's. Mate for medical cover, take Ariad, a 55-pound scuttling charge TNT block, batteries in a sealed pickle can, wires, a microswitch pressure detonator improvised from deck hardware, digging tools from deck plates, Colt .45 pistols, flashlights, survival gear, and stakes in case of guard dogs. 2 rubber boats, inflatable LCPRs, were launched from the deck. The party paddled ashore under cloud cover and darkness. Voices low, strokes careful to avoid splash. They beached silently on a gravel strip, pulled boats into brush. A sentry tower loomed 200 yards away. Lookout appeared asleep. The men moved inland, crouched low, reached the tracks. They dug between ties with entrenching tools. Sweat, despite the chill. A train passed close during setup. Men flattened in bushes, hearts pounding. No alarm. They positioned the charge under the rail, wired the microswitch to trigger on wheel pressure, connected batteries. Saunders checked connections twice. They covered the site with dirt and gravel, erased footprints. Paddling back began quiet strokes, eyes on the tower. As they neared Barb, a southbound train whistle sounded in the distance. They boarded at 1:30 a.m. Boats secured. Fluckey submerged to periscope depth, waiting. At 1:47 a.m. on July 23rd, the train rolled over the switch. The explosion lit the nighty massive flash, thunderous roar, carrying across water. The locomotive hurtled 200 feet skyward in flames. 12 freight cars, 2 passenger cars, and 1 mail car derailed, piled into twisted wreckage amid fire and smoke. Debris scattered. Secondary explosions followed, possibly ammunition or fuel aboard. Twists came instantly. The blast illuminated the coastline. Guards on the tower woke. Searchlights swept the sea. Barb dove deep to 400 feet, silent running. No depth charges followed. Japanese likely assumed air attack or internal sabotage. Sonar had no screws pursuing. The crew held breath in red-lit compartments. No one spoke above whisper. Heroics shone in the landing party. Silent approach. Precise digging under threat. Calm wiring while the train passed overhead. No shots fired. No contact with enemy. Losses. None to the Barb crew. It returned safely. The train civilian mixed, but nighttime runs often carried troops destroyed completely. Japanese reports later noted casualties, but intelligence indicated military cargo. Technology key. 55-pound scuttling charge, standard sub-demolition explosive, improvised pressure detonator, micro switch from deck fittings, rubber boats for stealth landing. Colt .45 pistols carried but unused. Barb's periscope observation and radar confirmed train schedules. No exotic gear. Ingenuity and courage. The submarine withdrew north, continuing patrol. Fluckey marked a locomotive symbol on the battle flag, the only train kill in U.S. submarine history. The raid succeeded without casualties to the landing party, adding to Barb's legend as the most aggressive and innovative submarine of the war. The climax arrived at 1:47 a.m. on July 23, 1945, as the southbound train rolled over the buried microswitch. The 55-pound charge detonated with a blinding flash and thunderous crack that echoed across the water to the waiting USS Barb. The locomotive lifted 200 feet into the air in a fireball, wheels spinning wildly before crashing back amid twisted rails. 12 freight cars, 2 passenger cars, and 1 mail car derailed in sequence, piling into a mangled heap of metal and flame. Secondary explosions followed, likely ammunition or fuel aboard lighting. The night sky orange and sending debris scattering hundreds of feet. Smoke billowed upward. Fires raged along the wreckage. The coastline illuminated briefly, revealing the sentry tower and distant buildings. On Barb, submerged at periscope depth, Fluckey and the bridge watch saw the eruption through the scope. The explosion's roar reached them across the water. The boat rocked gently from the pressure wave. Crew in the control room froze. Sonarman reported no screws pursuing. No immediate response. Fluckey ordered, all ahead 1/3. Silent running, 400 feet. The submarine slipped deeper, screws turning slowly to minimize cavitation. Red lights glowed. Men held breath, listening for depth charges that never came. The Japanese, stunned by the sudden blast, likely assumed air attack or internal sabotage. Searchlights swept the sea, but no patrol boats closed on the submerged boat. Resolution unfolded at dawn. Barb remained submerged until clear of the area, then surfaced to ventilate and charge batteries. The landing party, exhausted but unharmed, reported flawless execution. Silent approach, precise placement, quick withdrawal. No shots fired, no enemy contact. The 8 men returned safely. Boats secured. Charge detonated perfectly. Intelligence later confirmed the train is a destruction locomotive. Airborne cars piled high. Significant disruption to coastal rail traffic. The raid succeeded without casualties to the Barb crew. The operation, unique in the war, disrupted supply lines in a remote area of Japanese territory. Fluckey marked a locomotive symbol on the battle flag, the only such kill in U.S. submarine history. Barb continued patrol, returning to port August 2nd, 1945, just before Japan's surrender. Fluckey earned the Medal of Honor for leadership across patrols. This land strike added uniqueness. The lesson emerged clearly. Innovation and audacity could extend a submarine's reach beyond torpedoes. Submariners, trained for underwater stealth, became commandos on land using ingenuity, improvised detonator, stealth night landing, and precision train schedule observation. The raid showed how limited resources, a 55-pound charge, rubber boats, and volunteer courage could achieve strategic disruption with minimal risk. No direct combat. Pure sabotage. It highlighted the versatility of submarine crews when opportunity arose. The event remains the only U.S. ground attack on Japanese home soil in World War II. Karafuto, then part of the home islands, saw the only American boots on that ground. Success stemmed from planning, crew initiative, and flawless executional losses. Full escape. Barb's legend grew not just for ships sunk, but for this rare, daring land strike that sank a train from the sea. Reflecting on the night of July 22nd to 23rd, 1945, off the coast of the story of USS Barb's shore party reveals one of the war's most audacious and improbable acts. 8 trained for underwater stealth, stepping onto enemy soil to plant a bomb under railroad tracks and destroy a train. In darkness, they paddled ashore in rubber boats, dug silently between ties, wired an improvised pressure detonator, and retreated without firing a shot or alerting guards. When the southbound train rolled over the switch at 1:47 a.m., the explosion hurled the locomotive 200 feet skyward in flames. Freight cars, passenger coaches, and a mail car piled into twisted wreckage amid fire and smoke. The blast disrupted a vital supply line in a remote corner of Japanese territory. The raid stands alone. The only U.S. ground combat operation on Japanese home soil during the entire Pacific War. Considered part of the home islands, saw American boots for the first and only time, not in invasion, but in quiet sabotage. No direct confrontation. No casualties among the landing party. The 8 men returned safely to Barb, which slipped away into the Okhotsk Sea. Commander Fluckey added a locomotive symbol to the battle flag, the sole train kill in U.S. submarine history. The event carries profound irony. A submarine, designed to strike from beneath the waves, extended its reach to land through sheer ingenuity. A 55-pound charge, a microswitch detonator, and volunteer courage. It succeeded where larger forces never ventured, disrupting rail traffic without mass bombardment or troop landings. The operation underscored how small, precise actions could achieve outsized impact when opportunity aligned with resolve. In the war's final weeks, as Japan's defeat loomed, Barb's crew delivered one last unexpected blow. The train's destruction marked not triumph in battle, but ingenuity in the shadows. It reminds us that war's strangest chapters often involve ordinary men taking extraordinary risks, battling into darkness, planting a charge, and vanishing before dawn. In memory, we see not conquest, but the quiet daring that turned a submarine into a land saboteur for one fleeting night. Like if this USS Barb train raid story amazed you, comment your thoughts. What surprises you most about the shore party? Subscribe for more forgotten World War II submarine missions and daring raids. We have written the sources from which we got this story in the description of this video, and we have always been and will be supporters of the oppressed, regardless of their color, race, or country. This world and its creator are also with the oppressed. See you in the next WW2 story.